This is Duke University.
Ladies and gentlemen, I ask you to please rise as we present the cross-continent class of 2014, the weekend executive class of 2014, and the global executive class of 2015. Could everyone please be seated? Every day at the Fuqua School of Business is a great day. Today is a spectacular day as we're here to celebrate the accomplishments of all these graduates. All of you chose to do something crazy. You decided that you would get your MBA at the same time you would have a life, you would have a job, you would try to do everything. And each one of you, I promised that this would be a challenging road, that there would be some tough times. And I'm sure that we delivered, that there were some tough times, but also some great times. And my hope is that right now you have actually mixed emotions, that you have a sense of exhilaration for your amazing accomplishment, a sense of relief that you're finally done, and hopefully a little bit of sadness that you won't be a part of this program. On the other hand, I'm so happy that we have so many people here who supported you to celebrate this day. And I'm confident that all the friends and family that are here today have no mixed emotions whatsoever. They are simply thrilled that you're done. So thank you to the graduates for giving it your all in terms of what you put into the program. You made this place better, and we can ask no more than that from our students. For the people who supported you, thank you so much. Thank you for being here today to celebrate with us, but thank you for making it possible for these students to reach this culminating point. I'd also like to thank the faculty who nurtured you during your time here, and the staff that gave you unbelievably great care during your times at Fuqua. So to all those groups, thank you. And one last group I'd like to recognize. If I could ask the student representatives from all three programs to please rise. I'm glad that we can recognize these students for all the work that they put in to make everything better for their classmates. They did so much work in terms of coordinating class activities, representing the class to the faculty and staff, and providing class leadership. So we are very, very grateful to those students. It's a group of leaders within a wider set of leaders, and that's a really tough thing to do, which is to lead other leaders. So thank you. With that, I'd now like to turn things over to John Gallagher, who is the Associate Dean for Executive MBA Programs.
Thank you, Bill, and thank you to all of you who are here to be a part of this celebration today. The cross-continent, the weekend executive, and the global executive classes have spent many hours under the tutelage of the Fuqua faculty. And so now, to begin our celebration, it gives me pleasure to introduce to you Janelle Tricia Williams, who will make the presentation of the Excellence in Teaching Awards on behalf of the Cross-Continent Class of 2014.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. At a top business school, you can expect to have professors that are both thought-provoking, leaders in their respective field, and evoke a certain kind of passion for both students and content. However, what makes a professor memorable is one that's able to instruct with such authenticity. They're able to humanize and simplify the subject matter so that everyone can understand. Professor Wood embodied all of the characteristics that I just mentioned, but she also did so in such a manner that we often felt that she left a piece of herself in the classroom after every lecture. Professor Wood, on behalf of our class, we thank you for your dedication, knowledge, and most of all, for being you. On behalf of the Cross-Continent Class of 2014, we present you the Teaching Excellence Award.
Thank you. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. You know, when I heard about this award, I started reflecting on what made this class so special to me. I think I loved you guys from day one. And then my 2-year-old said something very profound to me. She said, "Mommy, Mommy, this is Duke. This is teamwork." And then she walked away. And I said, "Okay." But like a lot of truly wise statements and mystic scholars like she is, I didn't really grasp the importance of her words till later when I realized she was talking about you guys. This is Duke. This is teamwork. And that's what made you special, is that you had an openness to other people's ideas. You truly listened to one another. You liked marketing. How many of you thought you were going to do that? It was just amazing to see how you worked together. And it's very appropriate that we have Shane Battier speaking to you today, because if there was ever a class that embodied the power of the assist, it was you. So I will take this hardware and treasure it as a memory of you guys. Thank you. I so appreciate it.
Thank you, Professor. When I think back upon my MBA experience, I realize that it's not so much the technical skills that I leverage today, it's the MBA jargon. It's the soft skills. And the jargon that we use puts us on a certain level, or above a certain level, with that of our colleagues. I can't count the amount of times that I have used the phrase, "what happened was," to describe quarterly earnings. Or my other favorite, "womp, womp, womp, womp," to express my displeasure with an executive or colleague's laziness. Both of which phrases we can credit to Professor Ashley Rosette. In addition, we can credit her, or more notably, we can credit her with providing us with a foundation from which to negotiate and win in any aspect of our career and lives. Not only did Professor Rosette deliver the highest caliber and most applicative content, but she did so in such a manner that was so engaging, 3-hour lectures felt short. Professor Rosette truly epitomized the spirit of Team Fuqua by also advising students on negotiations whether or not they related to the curriculum. Professor Rosette has increased our BATNA, which is the best alternative to the negotiated agreement, for many negotiations to come. Please join me in thanking Professor Rosette and presenting Professor Rosette with the Teaching Excellence Award.
Good morning, everyone.
What a fantastic day and a fantastic honor. Thank you so much. And thank you, Janelle, for making me smile about some of the terms that I use in class quite frequently. I'm glad they've left a special place in your heart. So thank you for that. Receiving an award like this is definitely not an individual accomplishment. It is definitely a team effort. And I just want to say thank you to my team. Thank you to Claire Stiles, who is my assistant, to two fantastic RAs, Christy and Jay, to a very fast-responding BMO and CB team, to my fellow colleagues here on the stage, to a very well-organized programs department, to my husband and two children, but most importantly, thank you to you, the students. You make my job so easy. It's such a pleasure, and congratulations to all of you. Thank you so much.
And now I'd like to introduce Wesley Reed Maxwell, who will make the presentation of the Excellence in Teaching Awards on behalf of the weekend class of 2014.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Obviously, the faculty here is an integral part of the Fuqua experience. Throughout this program, we've had the pleasure of learning from the best MBA faculty in the country, consistently recognized for superior academic productivity. It is now my privilege to recognize two members of the Fuqua faculty to receive the Excellence in Teaching Award. These two individuals were selected by us, the WIMBA class of 2014, for outstanding achievement during our program. Our first recipient is Dr. Mohan Venkatachalam. Dr. V. Mohan, for financial accounting in the core curriculum. For those parents and guests in the audience, you may be surprised to hear that many of us do not have backgrounds in business. So on behalf of the engineers, the physicians, the history majors, accounting represented one of the most daunting subjects to overcome. Besides its foreign nature, accounting is not typically the most exciting course in the MBA curriculum. I remember receiving my Term 2 materials and thinking, man, this is gonna hurt. It did hurt, but Mohan minimized the pain. He made all our classes exciting and understandable. The lively lectures kept us all engaged, even during the dreaded third period Saturday classes. So without further ado, Mohan.
Thank you, Wes, for the kind words. Congratulations, class of 2014. It's really a great honor. You know, after teaching for 25 years, you get jaded, even if it is an exciting subject called accounting. But, you know, I started teaching when I was 15, so don't try to guess my age. But you are the class who bugged me the most, who challenged me the most, and certainly inspired me to be a better teacher. So thank you for the inspiration to become better. Good luck.
Our second recipient is Dr. Ashley Rosette for negotiation in elective courses. Negotiation was a class which I felt a little bit more comfortable than accounting. After all, I've been negotiating my whole life. Many of us thought, how hard could it be? When class began, we quickly realized we had a lot to learn. During each class, we would disperse in different sized groups to negotiate cases. After a short period, we would return to class and share the results of our negotiations in the portion of our class affectionately known as what had happened was. Here we all quickly learned you can't judge a book by its cover. Brian Smith. God took me to the cleaners. Shrikant. Ashley taught us how to prepare for a negotiation, and more importantly, she made us follow our plan. If I had a nickel for every time I heard Ashley say, "Your plan was fine, why didn't you follow it?" I'd have a few extra payments down on my tuition assistance. Incidentally, the answer to that question was inevitably, I don't know. Towards the end of the course, my team actually negotiated a higher grade on a team assignment. Clearly, our skills had improved. Never mind what the grade was. For the engaging case studies to the dynamic class lectures, Ashley ensured that the Wimble 14s are formidable negotiators. So without further ado, Ashley.
Good morning again. Thank you guys so much. I was so humbled to, once I realized that I was receiving both teaching awards. It meant so much to me, such a great deal to me. I'm currently actually on sabbatical, okay? I'm on sabbatical in South Africa. And during my time in South Africa, I've learned numerous philosophies. And I've become really fond of one leadership philosophy, and it's called Ubuntu. And Ubuntu simply means that I am because we are, and we are because you are. As you guys leave here today, as you start your new journey or you continue along your current journey, you will have to ask yourself, what's my plan? You will also come to a crossroads, and you'll have to ask yourself, what's my BATNA? As you consider your BATNA and as you consider your plan, I hope you will also consider Ubuntu in your leadership philosophy. It is the foundation of human kindness. I encourage you to think of your BATNA and think of your plan in the context of human kindness. Thank you so much.
Now I would like to introduce Catherine Joy Ellison, who will make the presentation of the Excellence in Teaching Award on behalf of the Global Executive Class of 2015. Catherine.
Good morning, everyone. So it was just a little more than a year ago that the Global Executive MBA Class of 2015 arrived at Duke for our first residency. It was term one. None of us knew what to expect. We didn't know each other yet, and we were all dreading one man's class more than any other. Pain doesn't even begin to describe it. This distinguished professor received his PhD from the University of Iowa in 1996 and joined the faculty at Fuqua in 2002. He is now the R.J. Reynolds Professor of Business Administration. His research has been cited by his peers more than 3,700 times and spans a range of complex topics, including valuation, corporate governance, and the role of verbal and nonverbal managerial communication in financial markets. So we had every reason to be intimidated by this formidable subject matter expert. But during our very first class, this professor put us at ease by making the subject dynamic, interesting, and accessible. It is therefore not surprising that he has won more teaching awards than one can count, and it's his second award today. It is my pleasure to express the gratitude of the entire Gemba class by presenting this year's Excellence in Teaching Award to the man who put the magic in accounting. Please join me in congratulating our beloved Mohan Venkatakalam.
Thank you again. I can't follow what Ashley did. I have no philosophy to tell you, but Ubuntu sounds good to me. There are several invisible hands on this trophy. I think I want to single out two of them, my TAs and colleagues, Mani Sethuraman and Thomas Steffen. I think without their support, I don't think I'll be standing here today. Congratulations and thank you.
Now I would like to present Michael A. Newell from the Weekend Executive Class of 2014. Michael will present Dean Boulding with a consolidated class gift on behalf of all three cohorts. Michael.
Thank you. Feels like I won a golf tournament. It's a pleasure to be here today, and I'm honored to present this gift on behalf of all three classes represented today. Though we are three classes, we're pretty similar in a lot of ways. 2 to 3 years ago, as Dean Boulding pointed out earlier, we made a tough decision. We gave up most of the rest of our lives, continued to work, and pursued an MBA at one of the best universities in the world. And here we are. I want to thank all the classmates from my class, Cross-Continent, Global Executive, for your participation in the class gift. And I also want to give a big thank you to Kyle Kramer, Assistant Director of Annual Giving for Fuqua. Without all your enthusiasm and commitment, we wouldn't have gotten such a great turnout, and we had 2 classes with 100% participation and a third right on their heels. So you might think with 3 separate classes probably fueled a little competitive spirit, and it probably did, and all 3 classes had a great turnout. But we sit here today together, and in the spirit of Team Fuqua, it makes sense to only give 1 check on behalf of all 3 programs. So on behalf of the Cross-Continent, Global Executive, and Weekend Executive programs here today, it's my honor to present Dean Boulding with 1 oversized check from all 3 classes.
So this is a really big check, and it's a lot of money too, so thank you. I'm so appreciative to all of you for investing in the people that will follow you. It's really an incredible thing that all of you invested so much of yourselves with your sweat equity in making the program experience better for your classmates, and now you're making the same investment in the future, and we are so deeply grateful for that. I would like to call special attention to the weekend class and the global class for 100% participation. And I'd also like to call attention to the cross-continent class for not only giving a significant level of support to the school, but also rallying behind the family of a fallen classmate and giving significant financial support to Hemant's family. So thank you all so much.
I'd like to add my thanks to all of you for your support and your investment in the school. Thank you so much. I would now like to introduce the class speaker for the Cross-Continent class of 2014, Shepard Zamunia.
Morning, everyone. I see that Professor Skippers is amongst us. Can you hear me? we used to have our own battles with Professor. She never used to hear me. So if she said no, I was going to ask her to come and sit next to me. But since she can hear me, she's fine. It was such an honor learning from your fountain of knowledge. The Business School Dean, Bill Boulding, members of the faculty, distinguished invited guests, family and friends. I would like to acknowledge family and friends who have come from the 4 corners of the globe to come and celebrate this occasion with us. Can you please turn to the next person sitting next to you and say, you're a Duke VIP today? Come on, God. You're VIPs even though you're sitting that side. You make this event special, and we feel elevated by your presence. Ladies and gentlemen, we celebrate today with the painful memory of having lost our beloved classmate, Hemant. Hemant's vision was meticulous, and his leadership potential was obvious. His commitment to country and family was a shining example. I have no doubt that Herman's memories will be cherished and remembered. I would like to thank the business school for the support extended to Herman's family during these trying times. I hope that one day Herman's kids will come to this university and finish what their father started. Fellow classmates, MBA class of 2014. Thank you for this rare opportunity to share a few words with you. Allow me on behalf of the Duke University and on my behalf and on behalf of my family to say a warm congratulations. This was a job well done. Please keep the fire burning. To my Portuguese friends, parabéns. To my Chinese friends, chuha. To my African brothers, pongezi. When we started in 2018, our very own Mark Brown asked us a question. Who are you and what are you doing here? But the question is, who am I and what am I doing here? When a young aspirant African looks around the business environment, you can't help but realize that the most successful business brands are American. And Professor was talking about Ubuntu. In Africa, we say it takes a village to raise a child. So armed with this knowledge, I jumped onto a plane and I was in the United States for the first time in search of fortune and knowledge. Today, we celebrate one of the achievements. And since MBA is an acronym for a massive bank account, I suppose fortune will follow. They say if you're the most accomplished person in a room, you're in the wrong room. You're in the wrong place. But my class did not disappoint. The whole business school experience was awesome. You are all special in many ways. You all have unique talents and aspirations. Because of you, I'm now a better person. I now appreciate other cultures, and my perspective on issues is now broader. I've also made a lot of friends, but I would like to make a comment on friends. In some of our team assignments, our relationship was that of friendship during assignments. Once the assignments were submitted, our relationship turned into professionalism. In some of the assignments, our relationship was professional during the team assignments, and once the assignments were submitted, our relationship became that of friendship up until today. Fellow classmates, we have encouraged each other to go out of our comfort zone over the course of our program. Most of us walked on a wire rig on 3 towers. Some of us went skiing in Dubai. Some of you climbed the Burj Khalifa in Dubai. I rode on a boat into the sea. Ryan Fawcett made the boat with paper and tape. The first time I gambled with my life. I had my first full body massage in China. If someone talks me into it again, I might just do it again. But please don't tell my wife. Above all, we have all shared our different perspectives on a number of critical issues, and we have learned so much from one another. Let us take what we've learned from each other and transform it into knowledge that can impact so many people wherever we may go. One student once said he was ready to achieve anything because he had passed Professor Catherine Skipper's accounting module. Before we sympathize with this classmate, let us remember that we all had modules that tested our resilience, but despite all these challenges, the education that we received from this institution has helped us to grow in our self-confidence. Nelson Mandela, a global icon, once said, "Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world." He also said, "It is through education that the son of a mine worker can become the head of a company." Ladies and gentlemen, it is through education that I'm standing in front of you today. Indeed, in Africa, education is the gateway to making many positive changes in our communities. Yet we do not have the same technological advancement and educational facilities that I've seen here. Our residencies across the globe showed us that the world is becoming competitive on a daily basis, and this demands that we continue learning to improve ourselves so that we remain relevant in today's world and in that of tomorrow. This reality reminds me of an native African saying which says, in Africa, every morning, when the gazelle rises, it has to run faster than the fastest lion. And every morning when the sun rises, the lion knows that it has to run faster than the slowest gazelle to feed and to survive. Fellow classmates, it doesn't matter who you are, it doesn't matter where you're from, whatever your circumstances, whenever the sun rises, you have to learn. Let us all be firm believers in continual learning, for if we stop learning, we will be doomed to ignorance and we will cease to exist. I hope you will make relevant and best use of the achievement you have obtained today. I'm also tempted to leave you with another African saying, which says, Akula langa eliphuma elinye lingakatshoni. If you indulge with the Ndebele people, they will tell you that this saying means there's no sun that will rise before it is set. So please let us make judicious use of opportunities that will come our way. Let us make judicious use of the time that we have. In conclusion, I would like to appreciate the Duke University for helping to build the dreams and aspirations of many people, including some of us who come from underdeveloped countries. I wish you all the best in your future endeavors. May the Almighty be with you. Thank you. Obrigado. All right.
Thank you, Shepard. It now gives me great pleasure to introduce the class speaker for the weekend executive program for the class of 2014, Jeffrey D. Rubin.
Good morning, everybody. Naveen. Today we culminate an amazing odyssey with an accomplishment that we're privileged to share with those who made it possible. Through the support and sacrifice of our loving families, the generosity and brilliance of the Fuqua faculty and staff, and the dedication and camaraderie of one another. We arrived at Fuqua as individuals with a rich blend of experiences, focused to study the classic disciplines of business. But from day one, it was clear that this was a journey that would be unlike any other that we have undertaken. Yes, we immersed ourselves in the cornerstones of commerce and the mechanics of management. And with recognition that the mightiest of corporations are little more than balance sheets of assets and liabilities, without its people, we explored and we practiced the subtleties of leadership. We have learned a lot. But well beyond 4 Ps, 5 forces, and 6 domains, we have learned balance and we have learned teamwork. None of us had the luxury of being full-time students. Our lives continued unabated while we studied. Marriages, births, illnesses, new jobs, old jobs, companies launched. We juggled, we prioritized, we leaned on one another when the tightrope wobbled and the load seemed too great to bear. Not one of us can say that we made it across alone. From day one, we heard it, we learned it, we lived it as a team. Accommodating the idiosyncrasies of professional and personal lives, we wrestled to meld our individual spirits into a unified voice to deliver on time and on point and properly formatted, usually properly formatted. Together we absorbed intricate writings, we unpacked convoluted cases, we solved complex problem sets. And while we ultimately toiled alone, We prepared one another for the unbridled joy of planting John Barleycorn's fields, predicting the viability of Sanjay's restaurant, and staffing Southstrom's department store, all within a tight 24-hour window. Sorry, we don't have Ozan here to celebrate that with him. We have learned, we have experienced, and my friends, we have shared in the challenges of walking on a wire 20 feet in the air, in the cold of a Thomas Center shower made warm by Chris at the bar, and in our spasms of post-prime athleticism displayed on Blue Devil basketball courts, borrowed from our national champions. We shared in the idiosyncrasies of Alex's freaky facts of life, Brendan's curious obsession with grape nuts, and Elena's forays in the real life. The collective anxiety of cold call roulette, with Craig's name seeming to fill every slot. Thanks, Craig, you were a rock star. A few licked soap to see if it tasted good. And many of us still carry the weight of Fuqua cuisine, that eclectic mix of spicy peanuts, chocolate-covered espresso beans, Sour Patch candy, on-demand ice cream, and the occasional Technicolor entree. We now leave Fuqua transformed by knowledge, by newly realized insights into ourselves, and by a rich tapestry of lifelong friendships to be, bounded by our common identity, our common experience, and our common achievement. After all we have shared and accomplished, we arrive at this day with relief, with pride, and with hope. Hope for a future with a sky-high ROI, where every one of us digs in, attacking the hard problems to elevate our world, leveraging to energize and enable those around us. For all of the love, sacrifice, and support that we have received, today let us commit to compound our investment and pay it forward. Following Robert Louis Stevenson, to judge each day not by the harvest that we reap, but by the seeds that we plant. Seeds that we fertilize with humility and passion to empower those who follow us, to mentor and build opportunity, leading responsibly, compassionately, and enthusiastically. Today we celebrate. We celebrate a marvelous milestone in our lifelong journey to fully realize our potential, enabled by our newfound strengths of knowledge, experience, and kinship, and bound by commitment to inspire, to create, and to enrich. Let us begin anew. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. It's my pleasure now to introduce to you the class speaker for the Global Executive Class of 2015, Peter B. Saba.
Good morning, Fuqua graduates. I am deeply honored to be here representing the awesome Gemba class of 2015. The paths to this milestone in our lives have all been different, reflecting the diversity of our class. For me, I don't think that I could have ever imagined that someone who had attended a rival ACC basketball school during the Ralph Sampson era and then went to the Duke of the North to study the antithesis of the MBA program, law, would find themselves here on the floor of Cameron Indoor Stadium extolling the virtues of Duke's MBA program. But the Gemba program has truly been a transformative experience for each of us, a giant 15-month organizational change initiative, or OCI. And now we're at the refreezing stage, taking what we have learned and anchoring it for the rest of our lives. As part of that refreezing, contextual leadership is key. And so let's put graduation in the context of our Gemba courses. First, combining finance and strategy. Is there an arbitrage opportunity here? The answer is a resounding no. There is no way to replicate the Gemba class of 2015. Just like Duke's 2015 men's basketball team and the Duke MBA program ranking, the Gemba class of 2015 is #1 in our hearts. Applying a capabilities analysis, this class has met the VRIN test, a class that is valuable, rare, inimitable, and non-substitutable. Now let's consider global markets and institutions. Our travels followed a path similar to that t-shirt that traveled the global economy from the US to Shanghai and back to the US, and for some, then on to Africa. We have one of those red parrot t-shirts for Professor Schipper. Maybe accounting is applicable here. Do we need to record an intangible asset on our personal balance sheets? If so, Mohan, can you explain again whether we should be amortizing that goodwill under IFRS or GAAP? And when do we test for impairment? Hopefully not at today's barbecue, because I'm not sure any of us would pass that test. Then there's operations class. Is there anything more critical than making use of what we learned in that beer game simulation in Delhi to avoid bottlenecks in the distribution of cases of beer this afternoon? We could also combine marketing and management. Okay. To set performance incentives, linking large increases in compensation to today's graduation. I'm sure none of my classmates would object to that. And at the same time, those salary increases would boost the ranking of the Gemba program in support of the Fuqua brand. From economics, should we consider the last 15 months a sunk cost? Despite how economists might view it, I think we would all agree that this program has been anything but a sunk cost. Alternatively, we can apply data analytics, pulling up precision tree on our laptops to better inform our decisions about life after Gemba, and in particular, to get to the bottom of the question of whether the class of 2015 should join together to form Ashley McGee Consulting. But this program is more than just the content of each of our courses. As valuable as that learning has been, this program has truly been a deep culture experience for each of us. So based on the universal dilemmas from CCL, let's look at the core of the Gemba class of 2015. First, who gets respect? Our new degree might be viewed solely as a status marker, but it's more than that. It's an achievement, and it's an achievement that had many contributors. Our respect as a class goes first and foremost to our spouses, significant others, children, parents, and other family and friends that supported us and sacrificed with us and were as much a part of our ability to earn this degree as we were. Please join me in thanking them. Our respect also goes to the wonderful professors, the Gemba support teams, and the Fuqua administration who guided us through our Gemba experience and equipped us for the future. Please join me in thanking them as well for making this the exceptional program it is. Second, whom are people loyal to? At Duke, Team Fuqua is more than a phrase, it's a way of life. Even if we started this program as individualists, we soon learned that the greatest strength of the program, and particularly of the Gemba class of 2015, is its collective strength. We have built strong bonds and deep friendships as we have worked together and helped each other over the past 15 months, bonds that we are committed to maintain in the years ahead. Our class motto and closing time rallying cry of "No Gemba Left Behind" epitomizes the meaning of Team Fuqua. The third universal dilemma is, shall we look forward or back? Today is bittersweet, a word we heard repeatedly this last week. Bittersweet as we greet our diplomas with a sigh of relief that there are no more assignments to tackle, but also with a measure of sorrow as we will miss those residencies and the times together. But above all, we greet those diplomas looking forward to applying what we have learned, looking forward to the next steps in our careers, and looking forward to staying in touch with our Gemba family. In closing, I'd like to share a poem, a tribute to the Gemba class of 2015 by the Duke of Durham, J.B. Lord Fuqua, a distant cousin of Alfred Lord Tennyson. The poem is entitled The Charge of the Gemba 2015. From Nigeria, from France, from Kazakhstan onward, all in the valley of Durham, rode the 36. Forward, the Gemba 2015, charge for the Duke MBA, they said. Into the valley of Durham, rode the 36. Forward, the Gemba 2015. Would these executive students this MBA ordeal survive? Charging onward, knowing well that not all their luggage would arrive. Theirs to raise their hand and make reply. Theirs to forge a team and reason why. Theirs but to get a low pass or say goodbye. Into the valley of Durham rode the 36. Generally accepted accounting principles to the right of them. Generally accepted accounting principles to the left of them. Generally accepted accounting principles in front of them. Debits and credits surrounded them. Boldly through the 6 leadership domains they rode in well, into the jaws of Durham, into the mouth of MBA hell, rode the 36. Flashed all their Excel spreadsheets bare, flashed as their PowerPoints hurled through the air, plunged in the haze of marketing smoke, right through the supply chain bottleneck they broke. All the world they traveled, Prague and London, New Delhi and Shanghai, Istanbul and Dubai. Then they traveled back, but not with all their brain cells intact. When can their Fuqua glory fade? Never. Oh, the global times they had, all the world they traveled, honor the professors they had, honor the Gemba 2015 Noble 36. Thank you.
I'd like to thank our 3 wonderful class speakers. Thank you so much. It now gives me enormous pleasure to announce and welcome our graduation speaker, Shane Battier. Shane is no stranger to Cameron Indoor Stadium. He gave us 4 years of wonderful memories on this court, and now he's back here in a very different role, with a different perspective on Cameron Indoor Stadium. When we look for a graduation speaker, we have unbelievably high standards. We want someone who has accomplishment of real significance. We want someone who, through their experiences, has generated significant wisdom and insight that they can share with you. We want someone who can be inspirational as you make this transition into the next phase of your journey. And we want someone, above all, who is a role model for all of you in terms of what it means to be a leader of consequence. And if we're really lucky, we get someone who is connected deeply to the Duke community. Shane Battier accomplishes all those things with ease. The thing that I want to talk about in introducing him is the idea that he shares our values. That if you look at his success, which is enormous, you look at his accomplishment, which is incredible, and you look at his values and the way he's lived his life, it's almost like he's always been a part of Team Fuqua. So starting with the principle of collective diversity, Shane has always believed that we're stronger because we're together. Every team he's on, it's stronger because we're together, but it's stronger because we're different. We're not all trying to play the same roles. We know how to come together, find common ground, and build that great team. If you look at the idea of supportive ambition, Shane has never been about anything other than his teammates. his goal has always been to create success for others. And the amazing thing is, when you make other people successful, you achieve your own success. And so you see number 31 hanging in the rafters. That's a pretty phenomenal accomplishment to have your number retired at Duke University, where you've had incredibly great players over the years. It's an amazing thing to win a national championship, to win NBA championships, to be the National Player of the Year. But the thing that's really extraordinary when you support everyone else is when you redefine what greatness means. Because Shane had this funny thing about him, which is every team he was on, somehow they were successful. And people would say, well, why are these teams so great when Shane's on the team? Because when we look at his stats, when he was in the NBA at least, they weren't really earth-shattering statistics. But people had to figure out this puzzle. And so Shane actually created the whole field of data analytics in professional basketball through people trying to understand how he was making a difference. And it turns out if you use a statistic like point differential per player, that his numbers are Hall of Fame numbers. And so Shane is unbelievable in terms of making other people better. That's all he's ever wanted, and because of that, he's had success. If you think about authentic engagement, the fantastic thing about Shane is he authentically represents who he is. He brings his personality, his skills, his talents to whatever setting he's in, and that's what makes people better, is that he authentically represents himself. If you think about impactful stewardship, he's someone who understands it's not enough to be great on my teams. I need to be great in my community. And so he and his wife have formed the foundation, the Take Charge Foundation, where they're giving back in every community in which they've had a footprint. And it's an amazing thing to see that. Then finally, loyal community. We're really lucky that Shane is loyal to the Duke community and deeply involved, not just with Duke, but with the Fuqua School of Business as a senior Cole Fellow now. So with that, Shane, could you please join us here?
Good morning, champions. Family, patient championship families, esteemed faculty, deans, thank you. Welcome to my home. Indulge me for a second. I have this awful dream that I wake up and they take down my jersey because they figured I wasn't that good. So it's still up there, right? Still up? Okay. Every time I come into my personal sanctuary, this is sort of my church in many ways. I was a religion major here at Duke many moons ago, but every time I step into my sanctuary, I think about the number 31. And it really epitomizes my entire Duke experience. I was in high school. I was a sophomore, my first time to Cameron Indoor Stadium. Growing up, it was always Duke. It was always Duke. And the first time I came to campus, I ran like a little kid, all 6'8" of me, looking for an open door in Cameron Indoor Stadium. I finally found one. Well, Cameron was locked. All I could see through a tiny window back there were the retired jerseys. Jeff Mullins, Dick Grote, Johnny Dawkins, Christian Laettner. And I noticed a pattern that number 32 is retired, Christian Laettner. 33, Grant Hill, my idol, was retired. 35, Danny Ferry was retired. So I said, you know what? I'm going to take number 31, and someday that's going to hang next to my childhood heroes. And that was my vision from day one. Coming to Duke, making a difference. It's no different than all of our graduates here today. when you first stepped on this campus, you had a vision of getting your own jersey retired. And so today, congratulations. The journey has just begun. The journey has just begun. Now, I didn't know Mr. Fuqua, but I knew a lot of people who were very close with him. And he never cared for sports too much, but was obviously an excellent businessman. And he once said, when I buy a company, I can tour a factory, and I will probably be impressed when I leave. But show me, but I won't know what that company is about until I examine its balance sheet. And then I will tell you about the company. Now, he loved metrics and analysis, and he always did it for himself, a man after my own heart. Came from nowhere, worked hard, learned from the losses and the mistakes, and in the end, was a champion. Now, the beauty of now being a Duke graduate is that when you tell people you are a Duke graduate, there are certain things you're going to hear every single time you say you're a Duke graduate. At least I do. I hate Duke, but I like you. Thank you. People will strangely feel the need to tell you the last time they went to a basketball game or watched a basketball game, or explain their fandom to you, like you are now a basketball Yoda. So congratulations on that. There are certain things that will always happen as it pertains to Duke basketball. You will always be the first to know when Duke basketball loses, because your phone will ring nonstop with texts and phone calls. Especially in March Madness, it is a difficult time when the Blue Devils go down. It is true. But my response to those people are always the same. And feel free to use this as you go on to your journey. Whether Duke wins or loses, you will always know, because it is always the lead story in SportsCenter. Something that cannot be said for your school. I was very fortunate to play for one of the great coaches, in my estimation, the greatest coach in sports history, a man by the name of Coach K. You may have heard of him. He's got amazing upside. If I could buy stock in him, he's going places someday. The beauty of my 4 years here, and we had a pretty good run. My 4 years, our teams went 133-15, which is the NCAA record. The games that I played in, 131-15, which is an NCAA record. But not once did we ever go into a season talking about numbers and metrics. For Duke basketball, the most important, imperative thing that we were about was the ownership of the Duke name and the ability to carry on the tradition and the history and the pageantry and the standards of what attending Duke University meant. And I learned that lesson in a way that maybe I didn't always understand. After my sophomore year, we lost the national championship game to the University of Connecticut. We were #1 team in the country. We had historical scoring margin differential. If we win the game, we are considered one of the greatest basketball teams of all time. Well, unfortunately, we lost that game, and now we are a skid mark in the underwear of history, but a good skid mark. We lost 4 first-round draft picks to the NBA draft. Elton Brand, first pick. William Avery, 13th pick. Corey Maggette, 14th pick. Trajan Langdon, senior captain, first-round draft pick. The cupboard was bare. Everyone came out and said, Duke is done. All they have is a bunch of role players and a bunch of young freshmen coming in. The tradition is not good enough to be upheld by these guys. Well, I was working at a public relations firm in Chicago that summer, and I got a call from Coach K one day. He said, Shane, how you doing? I said, pretty good. Are you ready to lead us back to the Final Four next year. And I said, well, Coach, click. He hung up on me. Calls back, same time next day, and says, hey, Shane, sorry about that yesterday. I must have got disconnected. Are you ready next year to average 20 points, 10 rebounds, and win the ACC tournament? And I said, Coach, that's pretty funny. Click. I finally wised up. The third day he called back and said, Shane, are you ready to lead us back to the national championship, a place where it's about our standard of play? I said, yes, Coach, I am ready. I am ready to uphold the standards of what Duke basketball, what Duke University is all about, the reason why I came to the greatest school in the entire world. He said, that's what I'm waiting for. And it was a lesson that hit home for me that the names, the faces change, but one thing, and now that you have this degree, you have the Duke uniform on wherever you go, and that's something you should be proud of and you should be reminded of in every business venture that you tackle going forward. One of the most important lessons I learned here was the importance of the next play. The importance of the next play, and that was sort of a microcosm of the next play. See, what we learned here, what you have just done, what you've just completed, is not as important as what's right in front of you. The task in front of you is the most important game. Coach K used to say, the most important game that we're about to play is not the national championship. It's not playing for an ACC championship. It's the game right in front of us, whether that's an exhibition game against the Australian national team, a non-conference game on a snowy night in January against North Carolina A&T, in Cole Fieldhouse against University of Maryland, or down the road against the Tar Heels of Chapel Hill with a national championship game against the University of Arizona. See, the most important play is right in front of you. It's not about the turnover I just committed. It's not about the three-point shot that I made to tie the game. It's about what's next. So many people in this world, in business, in sports, in your family, waste time lamenting their mistakes or celebrating your success. Those two things, all they do is they serve as a distraction and can leave you and your team unprepared to face what's coming down the pipe, what's next. Basketball is a perfect metaphor for this, for the game of life. In basketball, it's the fast thinkers that win. And it's the players and really the people who are able to respond quickly to the next scenario, the next play, the next quarter, the next year, the next championship, and attack that next issue, the next problem, the next opportunity with the same tenacity, sacrifice, sense of selflessness, and teamwork. Those are the people who are ultimately successful. And on a side note, after being in Indianapolis for the Final Four, I had a chance to talk to fellow Fuqua grad Tim Cook. And I was telling him about the Coach K hang-up story on me. And he said, you know what? When I took over for Steve Jobs, Coach K did the same thing to me. So look out. When you guys take over Apple from him or Exxon, or because I know we have some guys in here, expect that story, all right? Coach K likes to recycle his stories. The power of the next play for us was never more poignant and imperative than our championship run in 2001. Every time I look at that banner hanging up in the rafters there, I'm reminded of the story. It was my senior night, my last game in Cameron Indoor Stadium. Our rival for 4 years, the Maryland Terrapins, who were an excellent team, came in to my senior night and defeat us in my last game in Cameron. Our starting center, Carlos Boozer, breaks his foot. Things did not look good for the old Blue Devils. After the game, our spirits were down. Coach K called an early morning practice, 7 a.m. practice. And he brought us in here, and he was not happy with our effort, and so he threw us out. And I'll never forget going back into the locker room, and I was in tears explaining to my teammates that we had one more game left with the University of North Carolina down the road for the season finale. We had the ACC tournament and the March Madness tournament. It was conceivable that without Carlos Boozer, our biggest, strongest center, we could lose our next 3 games. And as I'm throwing chairs in the locker room, yelling at my teammates, imploring them, this is my last chance. This is my last chance to reach the goals that I set out when I was a high school sophomore, my first time in Cameron. Coach K brought us back into the fold and said, again, we're Duke, and this is about standards. It is not about who is out there. It is about the discipline and the habits we've built over years and years and years that will lead us to the promised land. Do you believe? Do you believe in those standards? And he went down the line one by one, and we all said, yes, coach, we believe. And so he said, we're going to unleash a new weapon, something that no one is expecting from us. We started Reggie Love, AKA Obama's body man, as our starting center against North Carolina and 7-foot, 300-pound Brendan Haywood. And our goal was to shoot 40 three-point shots. And as a 10-point underdog, we go to Chapel Hill and we beat Carolina in Carolina with our new game plan by 10. We ride the wave of emotion and belief in our new system and our standards to the ACC championship. We go into the NCAA tournament and we beat every team by double-digit points, only 1 or 2 teams in the last 30 years to win every game by double digits. Because we believed in the power of the next play. And that's your task today. What you've accomplished, the sacrifice to your families, to your social life, although by the sound of it, it sounds like you guys fit in a little bit of social life here and there. Your sacrifice, your selflessness, all the dedication that you have trained and honed over the last couple of years, it has prepared you to attack the next play, wherever that may be. Because when you come from Duke, it is about championship habits. You are a champion. Wherever you go in the world, you can go to throw a rock in any corner of the world and you will find a Duke grad doing something amazing. And like it or not, you will be identified as, yeah, we were there when they won a championship with Jaleel Okafor, Tyus Jones, and Justice Winslow. That's how people identify themselves. I went to school with John Shire. I went to school with Grant Hill. I went to school with Dick Grote. They'll be saying, I went to school with you one day. But it is about the establishment of these championship habits that will make you stand out. And when people know you are from Duke, they will know that you are about sacrifice, and they will know that you are about teamwork. You will know you will have a growth mindset, that you believe that talent is not innate and is something to be displayed, but talent is something to be learned and cultivated on a daily basis. Most of all, they know you will have a Hunger Game mentality, a tenacity. Given a task, there is no end to your energy and your effort. And that is what makes you a Duke Blue Devil. All these traits that we talked about, I believe, are all part of a puzzle. And everybody's puzzle looks a little bit different, but it all works together. The traits that we've talked about, sacrifice, dedication, diligence, preparedness, all parts of my puzzle, and the common bond is Duke. Duke is the glue that brings out all these traits in my life. I'm reminded of a quote by General Douglas MacArthur, who said that there's no security in the world, only opportunity. No security, only opportunity. Well, that's why I was lucky to go to Duke University. Duke University helped me forge my puzzle. It made me realize that this puzzle allows me to attack every opportunity that comes down my road. So as I wrap, I want to thank Dean Boulding for having me, thank the faculty, thank the families for supporting our graduates. I want to congratulate our graduates. You've done something special. Don't ever underestimate the sacrifice and the energy that it took to get to this day. And I also want to thank J.B. Fuqua, wherever he may be. He's my kind of leader, my kind of businessman. He's probably up there watching us, probably doing some sort of metrics analyzation on this whole bit, teaching St. Peter metrics. Let's hope, for the sake of our own immortality, that we measure up and win the ultimate championship. Congratulations, and let's go Duke. Thank you.
Shane, thank you so much for those championship insights, and I would now like to give you a gift on behalf of the entire community.
At this time, it gives me great pleasure to introduce the Fuqua Scholars from the Cross-Continent Class of 2014, Weekend Executive Class of 2014, and the Global Executive Class of 2015. Throughout the course of the program, each of these students has worked hard in a very challenging academic environment. The successful completion of the MBA is an outstanding achievement. Each member of this class has balanced this program with a full-time position and a personal and family life. Today, we want to honor those who have not only completed the Cross-Continent, Weekend Executive, and Global Executive MBA programs, but have distinguished themselves in their academic program. Fuqua Scholars are those students who graduate in the top 10% of their class. As we consider the quality of all of the members of these classes, we can also reflect on the outstanding achievement of being designated a Fuqua Scholar. I will read the names of the Fuqua Scholars alphabetically, and I would ask that as I read each name, that person stands in his or her place. I would also ask the audience to wait until I have read all of the names before indicating their support and congratulations. That will help us make sure that all of the names can be heard. The Cross-Continent MBA Class of 2014 Fuqua Scholars are Stylianos Leonidas Alisis, Janine Suzanne Bedard, David Ryan Bradbury, Sarah Pierce Cunnington, Nur Hyatt, Kenneth James Jacoviak, William Liu, William Andrew Opitz, Bharath Ramesh, Sophia Suarez Cristiani, Matthew John Therian, Mark David Wasserman. Please join me in congratulating the Cross-Continent Fuqua Scholars. Thank you. Now I'd like to introduce the Weekend Executive MBA Class of 2014 Fuqua Scholars. They are Trent Jeffrey Brendan, Neelish Ramila Chordia, Brian Marshall Clary, Wesley Price Dunaway, Abhishek Shadrachandra Joshi, Joshua Peter Lingenfelser, Alice Kelly Mannion, Valerie Ann Matna, Jeffrey David Rubin, Ankur Shangi, and Eric Edward Turowski. Please join me. Congratulations. And now, I'd like to introduce the Global Executive MBA class of 2015 Fuqua Scholars. They are Peter B. Saba, Brian Philip Van Italy, Stephen A. Wardell, and Megan J. Weiss. Join me. Now it is time to individually recognize each of our graduates. Before we do so, I'd like to take a moment and acknowledge a member of the class of 2014 that is noticeably absent today. Last summer, the cross-continent class was shaken by the sudden passing of a classmate, Hemanth Rao Raparthi. Hemanth was a gentle spirit who formed strong bonds with many of you during his tenure in this program. Following his death, you joined together as a class, and you collected a sizable monetary donation to support his wife and his small children. I'm sure that Hemanth would have been very proud of all of your achievements today and all that you will accomplish in the future. While he will not walk the stage today, Hemanth will forever be a member of the cross-continent MBA class of 2014. Please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you. Today, we ask each of our graduates to come forward to be recognized and congratulated by Dean Boulding, Shane Battier, Jennifer Francis, myself, and the entire assembly gathered here today. At this time, I would like to ask Purvi Bhatt, Program Manager for the Cross-Continent Class of 2014, to come forward and read the names of the Cross-Continent 2014 graduates. We ask the graduates to file up to the stage on your right, and as your name is called, please accept your scroll and our congratulations. Now, a moment ago, I asked you all to refrain from showing your support for the Fuqua Scholars until all the names were read. But I'd like to point out that this is a very different part of the ceremony. It's quite different. So this is a special moment, and I encourage you all to cheer for our graduates and show your joy and support as their names are called. I expect some of you in the audience today will want to come forward and take a photo of your graduate. I ask that you please make every effort not to block the movement of the graduates as they move onto and off of the stage, and that you return to your seat when you're finished so that others may take a photo of their graduates as well. Thank you.
Janelle Tricia Williams. Shepard Zimunya. Stylianos Leonidas Alatsis. Robin Blaise Alemand. Nisarg Kiran Amin. Sergey Arzamasov. Jeffrey Bayaki. Kate Foster Battle. Janine Suzanne Bedard. Karan Bedi. Amy Lynn Burke. Alejandra Bernal. Troy Beanstalk. Tobias James Blackburn. Katie Nicole Glatzheim. David Ryan Bradbury. Emily Catherine Brooks. Craig Burstady. Artur Baraldi Bullo. Jennifer Nicole Cabrera. Douglas Nascimento Carvalho. Matthew Hennessy Chadwick. Frank Chavez. Anthony Shoho Chu. John Condi. Sarah Pierce Canadian. Lindy Leigh Crane. David Charles Engler. Ryan Whittemore Fawcett. Ekaterina Stanislavovna Fedorenko. Nancy Franks. Abraham John Gage. Maria Camila Garcia Caballero. Anish Abraham George. Matthew Allen Ginsberg. Anirudh Gomadam Parthasarthi. Melanie Goularty Jolivet. Maria Haji Stefano. Maura Elizabeth Halloran. Patrick Staples Hamer. Noor Hayat. Jason Michael Hilliary. Arvin Ulysses Isabello. Srinivasan Janardhan. Kenny Jaskowiak. John Anthony Kresser. Alexei G. Kuvshinov. Brian Andrew Lang. Robert Thomas Larson. Benjamin Neil Leftwich. Chad Levine.
Yeah, Chad. Woo!
Philip Lee.
Yeah, Philip.
William Liu. Pierre Jean Metry. Srinivas Malkapuram. Jack Amwanza Masangu. Nitin Mathur. John Baker McCaleb. Carl Mello. Michael Meyer. Mukhasirsha Mohammed. Kellen Troy Newhouse. Faraz Nomani. Gaurav Nukala. Omolo Obongo. Brendan J. O'Donovan. Richard Andrew Optis. Deepa Pamidi Mukula. Lindsay Faye Pruden. David Robert Polito. Prajakta S. Remolkar. Karine Reviere. R.D. Roy. Christopher Daniel Mark Royal. Alejandro San Roman. Jeffrey Brian Schiller. Eric Christopher Schwebeck. Apurva Gautam Shah. Samir Siddiqui. Vibhor Singh. Kristen Carey Smith Maccabee. Daniel Gerard Spears. Richard Darius Stone, Jr. Brianna Marie Seuss. Fakko Abba Tamaklo. Matthew John Therian. Rebecca Danielle Thompson. Kevin Patrick Trainer. Keely Ann Wilson. Vikram Aditya Yadav. Celine Yilmaz. Tsai Xing Cindy Jiang.
Congratulations to the cross-continent class of 2014.
You can go first.
At this time, I'd like to ask Keith O'Hare and Meg DeLuca, program manager for the weekend executive class of 2014, to come forward and read the names of the graduates. Mike's off? Sorry. Have we got it? We've got it. Okay. So once again, congratulations to the cross-continent class of 2014. I thought maybe you'd run out of gas, but it was the mic. Okay. At this time, I'd like to ask Keith O'Hare and Meg DeLuca, program managers for the weekend executive class of 2014, to come forward and read the names of our graduates. Again, we ask the graduates to file up to the stage on your right, and as your name is called, please accept your scroll and our congratulations.
Wesley Reed Maxwell. Michael A. Newell. Jeffrey David Rubin. Naveen Kumar Avuthu. Srikanth Baratham. Trent Jeffrey Brendan. Shiming Kaip. Khalifa Sise. Mark Yochung Chen. Nilesh Ramashal Chorja. Brian Marshall Clary. Rahul Prakash Dalvi. Robert Michael Dickens. Preeti Shamkumar Dikshit. Wesley Price Dunaway. Frank Fang. Bader Kais Fazea. Serena Carmela Fiore. Gregory Andrew Frank. Vishal Ganju. Blessel B. George. Ryan Martin Graven. Benjamin Jacob Gronemeyer. Mushtaba Hadri. Matthew Lawrence Hanley. Adam Carmichael Hilton. Mary Jaco Hopkins. Amin Husseini. Abhishek Sharachandra Joshi. Saju Daniel Joy. Aaron Paul Judies. Uni Kaniatu. Praveen G. Karandikar. Letitia Kimber. Jack John Kletcha. Hershad Vinay Kolte. Hari Hara Murthy Kanda. Rohit Ramesh Lakhani. John Powell Leachman. Matthew Joseph Lekawa. Joshua Peter Lingenfelser. John 2 Draper Long. Saeed Mahmood. Sweta Mandap. Alice Kelly Mannion. Brandon Jared Massey.
Valerie Ann Matna. Richard Charles Mather III. Kevin Andrew McClure. Cliff Medina. Kajib Mahmood. Sangeetha Mohan. Juan Manuel Mojica. Manat C. Matwani. Rupesh Bhaskaran Nagathil.
Thank you.
Sridhar Nateri. Juan Abedina. Toye Asunbumi. Prama Prakash Pandi. Raja Parthasarathi. Pramal Dinesh Patel. Hari Venkatram Pedapulu. Craig David Pilley. Srinivasan A. Prabhushankar. Christopher Bruce Pratt. Sri Ram Ramdori. Andrew Stover Robinson. Jason Joseph Romanowski. Ankur Shanghi. Santanu Sarkar. Jyotika Sharma. Rahul Singh. Joseph Anthony Smilari. Brian Matthew Smith. Christopher John Soderstrom. Rajaram Subramanian. Matthew Donald Sumner. Ruth Tolman. Eric Edward Torowski. Michelle Eden Vasu. Rajesh Kumar Verma. George Stafford Villa. James Lloyd Wagner. Charlotte Walton. Gay Worley. Mark Charles Wright. Shrikant Gilanki. Nenen Zong. That up there.
Congratulations to the Weekend Executive Class of 2014. At this time, I would like to ask Sydney Jones, Program Manager for the Global Executive Class of 2015. Well, looks like you get it one way or the other. Here we go. To come forward and read the names of our graduates. Again, we ask the graduates to file up to the stage on your right, and as your name is called, please accept your scroll and our congratulations.
Catherine Joy Ellison. Peter B. Saba. Narcissus Hagop Agopian. Fahad Al-Bader. Asan Ali. Sherry B. Anderson. Anand Balasubramanian. Matthew Alexander Barris. Shambil Basut. Jonah L. Burfield. Jordan L. Burfield. Michael Ryan Harrell. Stanley Booth Hindley. Armando Hernandez. Tanya Marie Higgins. Oluwaseun Ishola. Ramesh Kumar. Christina B. Lugo. Thibaut Mercier. Gotta go. Don Charles Mitchell. Adam William Moore. Craig Forrest Noel. Kazim Olawale Oladepo. Feyi Solomon Olubodun. Brian Scott Ottinger. Kartik Rajnikant Patel. Mirza Serikov. Venkat R. Tipireddy. Peter G. Tolles II. Brian Philip Van Italy. Stephen A. Wardle. Robert Lee Waterhouse Jr. Michael Thomas Weigand. Megan J. Weiss. Tamara York Day.
And now, congratulations to the Global Executive Class of 2015.
So please join me in congratulating all of the graduates today, weekend, cross-continent, and global. I think they really like you. In just a few minutes, we'll all convene back in the Fox Center and continue the celebration. But before we do that, I'd like to speak directly to all the graduates. So if you could all please rise. Before you transition to alumnihood, there are a few things that I'd like to say. And the first one is thank you. All of you put so much effort into the programs that you were in, and you made the programs better, not just for yourselves, but for your classmates and for us. And for that, we are extremely grateful. It's fitting that here we are on Coach K Court to invoke something that he frequently says, which is, if two can act as one, then two are better than one. But I'll tell you what, if an entire class can act as one, then you have something that's really amazing. And for that, I thank you for taking this idea of Team Fuqua and making it even better. It's just a fantastic thing to see. So having thanked you, I now have some requests to make of you. And no, I'm not asking you for money. But I am asking that you stay connected to us. You finish now your programs. You finish the tests, the papers, the grillings in class, the late nights with your classmates. But you now have this thing, which is a Fuqua MBA for life. And I'd like to be sure that you stay connected to us and stay connected to those who will follow you. That you'll be sure to give back to those who will follow in your footsteps, so that not only will have you made the program better because you are here, but you'll make the program better for those that follow you. And so please look out for those that will be in your programs in the future. Mentor them, help them network, give them advice, give them jobs, do all those things that make the new people coming into the Fuqua community feel welcomed into an incredible community. So please stay connected with us. The second thing that I ask of you is, and you're gonna think that this is funny, but please stay connected to each other. And I know you're all thinking, well, of course we'll stay connected to each other. We love each other. I mean, we went through wars together. We went through joy and celebration together. I'll never forget these people. They'll always be a part of my life. But guess what? After this graduation, each of you will move off to your different part of the world, and life will happen. Life will come at you, and it will be very easy to let those connections just go away that you've worked so hard to create. And so the thing that I urge you is to don't assume those connections will stay there just by magic. It's going to take hard work on your part. Put the effort in to stay connected to your classmates, because if you think about the impact they've had in your lives over the past couple of years, think about the impact they can have on the next 50+ years as they share your success, they share your difficult times, and they make you better. So please keep that connection. The next request is, this day is about you, but if you think about this idea that your success is my success, there are a lot of people who are surrounding you here today and within your classes that put your success ahead of their own success. And they got you in this position of incredible accomplishment and privilege. Make no mistake, you are in a very, very rare category with this MBA degree from Duke. And it didn't happen by yourself. It happened because you had so many people who pushed you, caught you, supported you, and made this happen. And so while this day is about your celebration, it's equally about the celebration for those of you who helped get you here. And so please take time to thank all those people. The last request I have of you is that you live lives of happiness and success. And happiness, I want you all to enjoy life. I want you to have fun. But I also want you to think of happiness in the sense of the way JFK talked about happiness, or the way Aristotle would talk about happiness, which is to make the full use of one's talents along the lines of excellence. Because if you make full use of your talents and you're supporting others along the way, you will accomplish amazing things. You will be successful, and you will not only lead lives of success, but lives of significance. And what we ask of you is do your utmost to make a difference in the lives of others, and therefore lead a life of both success and significance. There is an African proverb which says, to go fast, go alone. To go far, go together. All of you have come together, and I think you've actually made me reconsider that proverb, because in my view, when you come together and you create an incredibly great Team Fuqua, you can both go fast and far. So best wishes on the next phase of your journey. Thank you all. And now we're going to process out. I've been reminded several times to go the right path here. But if I could ask everyone in the audience to please remain seated until the last graduate has recessed out of Cameron. So thank you all so much.
Thank you.